It's very difficult for them to make a profit when the cost.
Not the case for Enphase. I love doing these reviews when they talk rubbish. This channel is going to call you out if you talk rubbish.
So that stock is down, by the way, about 70% year to date. And the company talking about falling demand in Europe and also falling demand in the US driven by California.
No, that's not right. There's not falling demand either. Breaking news here on Martin Lucas Investor, Enphase Energy. As you know, I'm extremely bullish on this stock, and I had an average of 150, 160, wherever it was, I forget now, and I kept buying it all the way down to $70. I think I got around about $70. We've seen some volatility over the last few days. We know that in 2 quarters now, with the interest rates coming down, which they will, no one has said that yet, but I'm saying it, in the spring and the summer they will, Enphase Energy is a 4 and a 6x. It can double just by the first quarter. I'm extremely confident of that, hence why I use margin at 8% to buy Enphase at $70. I've gone all in on Enphase. I want to bring you some information. If you are new here to my channel, click subscribe and ring the bell and tap the like button. We are now doing reviews, deep dive reviews on all my stocks, and I'm also in contact now with CFOs, CEOs of companies, and we're doing a series called Meet the CEO. So if you are watching me on social media, if you are watching me on X and you work at the company, please reach out via a direct message, and I am putting together a series of companies where I wish to speak to the CEOs, CFOs, and members of the company. Very, very excited about that series of videos that I'm bringing you, plus our reviews. We're now doing reviews now for Alpha Spread, and our reviews rank above CNBC, Bloomberg's, because they're honest and real, and they're not just made from an analyst pumping stocks. I do want to go into a bit of news here and share with you.
Energy stocks continuing to get hammered this morning. The biggest manufacturers among wind turbines and solar panels, we're talking about Enphase, Sunrun, and SunPower, just to name a few, are at risk of facing some of its biggest financial challenges in years, thanks to volatile costs and high interest rates. So
exactly. It's all to do with interest rates, but of course it's all about, and we've always said there's no issue with Enphase. Enphase is the leader, way better than these other companies. Its margins is better. Its cash reserves is better. Its whole structure is better. I know I have Solar Edge in England. I have it on my house. I know how good it is. I know that Europe wants it. I know the new markets that want it. They just can't afford it now because of interest rates. We know now that their interest rates will be coming down in the spring and the summer, holding rates until then, but we know that things are going to get better. And Enphase, with its margins, it can afford to sell less, and it'll put the other businesses out of business. And what you'll find is, come the spring and the summer, some of these companies might be bust, but Enphase will be around to pick up all of the business. Let's hear a little bit more.
the question here is how and when will the sector see a long-term rebound? Yahoo Finance's Inez Ferre has the details. Do you have an answer for us, Inez?
Not right now, but I do have some information about what's happening in the industry overall and what we're seeing with these energy initiatives. Look, when we talk about energy initiatives, we're talking about with these renewable companies, we're talking about basically two categories here. We're looking at wind and we're also looking at solar. So let's first take a look at what's happening with wind, because there have been wind projects around the world and here in the US that have been going on. And those are facing some headwinds with those higher interest rates, Akiko, that you had mentioned, the higher cost of capital, inflation, supply issues in the industry as well. And you don't have to look that far in the Northeast. There's some offshore wind projects that have been initiated, and those are stalling. In fact, you had some governors recently sending a letter to the Biden administration asking for more clarification on tax credits from that Inflation Reduction Act that was passed last year, basically saying that they need more help to get these projects off the ground since they've been agreed upon because of higher costs, higher labor costs, supply issues, lags with permits, etc. Then we're talking also about solar energy. And in the solar energy, those companies that you mentioned, Akiko, being impacted by lagging demand because of these higher interest rates. So let's take a look at what's happening with the solar panel space. Enphase, for example, reported its quarterly results.
I like how she's reading off a script. I have to say, and I have to call out this particular presenter here, because this lady yesterday, I did a news story on, I forget which stock it was. It was something yesterday, I forget which one. It's on one of my reviews. And, oh, Virgin Galactic, that was right. And she was saying the stock pumped on Virgin Galactic because of the shorters, and it was rubbish. It was complete false information. It wasn't at all, and I proved it, and I did a review on it. It was because of the institutions were buying, and I know what institutions were buying and how many they were buying. We've not had a short squeeze yet on Virgin Galactic, but yet this lady here tried to discredit Virgin Galactic's rise due to a short squeeze. A short squeeze is great, but much better if we get institutions buying. That's a positive narrative, not a negative narrative, because a short squeeze means people who don't want the stock are being forced to buy it. Reality is institutions are buying it. So this lady, I can tell you now, is one of those, those analysts that I talked to you about earlier in the show, CNBC, who got me to buy oil at the worst price ever. I don't, so far, I don't credit this this presenter with accurate information. This certainly isn't.
Recently, and they're the maker of microinverters, and those are attached to solar panels. So that stock is down, by the way, about 70% year to date. And the company talking about falling demand in Europe and also falling demand in the US, driven by California.
No, that's not right. There's not falling demand either. Basically what's happened in Europe, it's not falling demand. The demand is there. The customers are there. They just can't afford right now. The desire is there. The orders are there. They just want to wait. If you look at it deeper, the customers are there. They just can't afford it right now. The demand is not falling. Demand is implying that people don't want solar anymore. That's not the case. If that was the case, I wouldn't have bought Enphase. They do. They're just waiting for the rates to come down. That's not accurate.
Also something happening in the overall solar panel space, and that is that there's been a glut of solar panels. So you're seeing some record low margins for companies. It's very difficult for them to make a profit when the cost.
Not the case for Enphase. I love doing these reviews when they talk rubbish. This channel is going to call you out if you talk rubbish. The margins on Enphase are high, and they're maintaining them to be high. They could reduce and sell them for cheaper, but they sell them for less. They don't need to. They've got the best product. They will hold their margins up. They will retain their market share. When the other companies who are scrambling around, who have very small margins, their moats are very narrow. They'll be put out of business. Enphase will come back and steal all the business. So let's not say that the margins are being squeezed. They're not on Enphase. I want to be clear. They are on others, but they're not on Enphase.
Cost of those products is continuing to drop, and analysts are saying that panel prices are likely to continue to drop
and their prices are not continuing to drop. Oh, this is like going fishing in a barrel with dynamite. I love when people make up this stuff. That's not the case at all. The price for Enphase products are not dropping. They're maintaining their prices. They mentioned that on their earnings. If you actually follow all the earnings as I do, this presenter clearly doesn't, you would know that. 2023.
Fascinating stuff there. We're looking at some of these green energy investments. Appreciate that breakdown. Our very own.
There you go. You appreciate that? Well, I wouldn't appreciate that. That information's rubbish. Anyway, so there you go. If you want to actually see our Enphase review on any stocks that you'd like reviewed, if you're a member of my channel, let me know and I'll review it for you. If you want to actually listen to the Enphase earnings and what the CFO and the CEO actually said, what actually is the case, click above my head and down in the links in the description, you'll find the links to our earnings and Not exactly what she just said, but there you go. That's what people believe. The share price is going down. I just buy more. Over here, you'll find more videos in the series of Enphase. Go and check out our Enphase actual information that actually makes sense. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.